We're back for another exciting episode of The Spicy Life. I am your relationship expert and magnetic matchmaker, Spicy Mari. And on today's episode of The Spicy Life, I have a phenomenal guest in the G spot for you. That is guest spotlight. I have the amazing and beautiful Tiffany Phillips. The crowd goes wild. Tiffany is a highly accomplished, multi hyphenated actress, producer, comedian, content creator, and host of the hot new podcast Self Deprecated that finds the funny in life's most deprecating moments while cultivating joy, laughter, and inspiration. Her critically acclaimed one woman tour de force, I Never Met a Jerk I Didn't Like, an unabashed referendum on dating in the 21st century, where Tiffany played 10 different characters, both men and women, takes you on a hilarious roller coaster ride through the minefield of love and self realization. Okay. Woe to that play that I saw. It was freaking phenomenal. I've been trying to get you on the podcast since like 2020.
When the whole world shut down, maybe.
Yes.
Maybe that was the issue getting me on.
Yeah, the world was coming to an end. Okay, no biggie.
Yeah.
But I've been wanting to do an episode on jerks, right? Why we attract assholes. So finally, I get you on this episode where I get to give 5 reasons that we attract jerks. And I had to have you on it because you are an expert at attracting jerks.
I know that was coming because you're so good at that. So let's talk to you about it.
Talk about your love for the asshole. My mic is
Oh my
popping
God.
around right now. Let me lift it up.
Well, I'm happy to be here, by the way.
Excited to have you.
So excited to be on. And we remember years ago we did, when you were at, oh my God, Maria Menounos.
At host.
Yeah. So we did that, but that was years ago. That was right when I haven't done the show in almost 10 years, but it still keeps popping back. People
It
are like,
was
we want to see
so
it.
good. And I love how you went through different renditions of like different boyfriend experiences, but all of them ended up the same, right? So I feel like a lot of women can relate to being attracted to the asshole, the bad boy.
Yeah.
And so before we get started on the topic, I always have my guests get warmed up with SPICY. So you're gonna answer my spicy question. This is my spice breaker. Tell me about the time when you fell in love with yourself. When was that aha moment? When did you realize, you know what? I have a deep love for me.
Well, I'll say like 2018, 2019 were rough years for me. I lost my mother to cancer, and then my father passed 6 months later.
Mm.
And the grief was just unbearable, but somehow I was able to pull through it and still find a way to cultivate joy like I do on my podcast. And I was surprised at the strength I had. I did not know I could be that strong because I was very close with my parents.
Yeah.
And it was then, I've had forms of love for myself throughout my life, but then I really said, wow, I love you. You're getting through this. You're doing this.
Oh, wow.
And I'm proud of you. So that was a big moment for me.
That's strength on another level right there. Oh my gosh. Okay. I see you, queen. I see you.
See you too.
So proud and excited for you. And we're going to hop right into this episode. I know you're important and you are crunched for time, so I'm gonna make sure I get you out on time. Okay.
All good.
We got to give everybody these spicy tips first.
Yes.
So I want you to begin by telling us your definition of jerk or asshole, right? Because everybody has their own definition based on their experience. What is your experience? How do you define that?
Well, it's interesting because I've dated plenty good guys, and I would say I'm out of my jerk phase at this time. But one thing that most jerks have in common is this cockiness. They exude self-confidence because they feel like they can get away with anything. It's almost a sense of entitlement and a detachment. They're detached.
Very good.
Which makes us as women intrigued.
Yep.
It's that cocky confidence, even though deep down you're like, oh, I hate you. I don't want to like you, but I'm attracted to you.
Right.
But
I don't know.
You're not good for me. So yeah, it's that overflowing sense of self that they have, even if it's coming from a place of narcissism.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, you hit it on the money. I couldn't agree more with how you're defining it. I think that millions and billions and kabillions of women out there would agree with your definition. When we speak to jerks, though, what oftentimes happens though is we stay in relationships longer than we should, hoping, for all of these different outcomes. And so I want to speak to you a little bit about these 5 things or reasons why we are attracted to them. Okay. So I'm going to break down the reasons and you're going to join in and chime in and talk to me about your personal experience with this. But, I love to give my stats on the show. You guys always know I have a study. Studies show that 64% of Americans are in happy relationships, right? 64%. That's actually pretty good with the divorce rate being as high as it is. But however, that also means that 36% are in unhappy relationships, which means that 36% are staying with people who they actually don't really care for or like. Or there's circumstances that have made it a tumultuous relationship. So I want to see if we can help people out by explaining to them the psychology or the behaviors of what's going on with why we're staying in these types of relationships, right? So that if you are in that 36 percentile, I can get you over into the better portion and we can change that number around.
Yes, you can.
Yes, I can. So we're going to start with number 1. Would you agree with this? That women are attracted to the concept when they're going through a certain phase in their life of just having hookups. Okay. No strings attached. Have you been through a no strings attached phase?
Well, it's so funny because I've been a serial monogamous most of my life, and I've been in relationship after relationship, and I've never even had a one night stand. Like, that's the kind of girl that I am.
Yeah.
But there was one year after I was in this 4-year relationship where I was fully, that was my lockdown. That was my pandemic, where it was kind of almost suffocating. So
Mm.
when I got out, I might have gone through a little bit of a hoe phase,
Okay.
I call it my year of the slut. But to me, my slut may be different than other people's
You
slut, if
define your
that
slut.
makes
What does
sense.
your slut entail?
Well, I wasn't bringing home randoms or anything like
Okay.
that. I would be seeing multiple men at the same time, and might even be sexually active with a couple safely, of
Mhm.
course. And I
I
was
like this
just juggling.
disclaimer. We use
Yeah,
protection.
just so you know, I was juggling, and I would go from one guy and brunch with one guy, and then to another guy, and then another guy, and I got names mixed up, and I realized this is too much work. This is this is too much work. My year of the slut is over.
You're like, my whole
Let's just
phase is
reel it
hard.
in. Okay, hoeing is hard. Keep up with all y'all. And then it was distracting from my work, my career. It was just men. No. So yeah, I did go through my phase
I
for
feel
sure.
like we all have. And ladies, if you haven't, don't force it. Okay. I did an episode last week on the whole phase, and it is not necessary if it is not in your spirit or you're calling to experience it. Okay. But when it comes to the no strings attached, oftentimes what studies show is that when we're able to have casual sex like that, it's usually because there's a sexual desire or attraction there. So usually when we're comfortable with having hookups or situationships, no strings attached. I'm gonna have to fix this mic. It oftentimes is because there's a primal desire for us to be physically involved with someone who we are physically attracted to. So we cared less about their character at the time, more about the sexual attraction. And when that sexual attraction happens, we're less picky about the other things that we need because we just want to get our rocks off.
Mm.
So we're looking more at, like, at this point, chiseled jawline, chiseled abs, right? Physical attraction.
I'm always looking at that.
Yeah, but the problem with that is that we're like discrediting the character things that are so important, right? And y'all, I've taken you through my pizza a multiples of times, a multitude of times, but so that you guys understand, like, when it comes to the character of someone, that really is what creates longevity in the relationship. So we're going to go from no strings attached to the next point because I need you guys to understand why we love jerks. Okay. The next point is the cat and mouse game, the chase. Have you ever chased a mantis?
Well, yes. And it's so funny because I had good guys
Mm-hmm.
chasing me.
Mm.
And who did I want? I wanted the one that wasn't paying any attention to me.
Of
I mean,
course.
he give me little, here you go, just a little taste.
Right.
And I wanted another taste. And the fact that he had me all twisted
Mm.
was like intriguing. And we all like a challenge. It's
Yep.
human nature. And those other guys, it was great. They were wonderful, but it was easy. I wanted the hard thing. It's as if I wanted this person because I needed to prove myself. It was almost as if, okay, if I get him, am I even going to want him anymore?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or because then the challenge is over. Okay, I got him. Now I'm bored. You know?
So what Tiffany is hitting on, you guys, is the desire.
The
Chase creates
chase.
a sense of tension, right? This tension leads to intense feelings of emotions that you have to conquer. And if you conquer this person, therefore it increases your sense of what you believe to be your self-worth. Now I've conquered this hard to catch person. Now I am worthy and I am desirable as I would
Yep.
like to see myself. And because you see
Yep.
that person as desirable, what
Mm-hmm.
happens is you think that if you can catch the desirable person, it now therefore makes you this hot, desirable person as well. This is a falsehood because usually the person who's really good at cat and mouse doesn't allow themselves to get caught.
Yep.
So we stay in this like roller coaster ride of emotions with the bad boy who we think is going to, give us this confidence boost when we get him. But all the while, we're never getting that confidence boost. We're not really getting our fix. He may pretend for a little bit like he's giving us a little, bit of cheese. But at the end of the day, he's not really serving us in a way that is healthy to build a relationship.
And we're lactose intolerant to that shit.
And that part.
Also, spicy Marty. I like to call you spicy.
Everybody calls me spicy. It's okay.
I just gonna stick. I know you're not, but spicy is what I like to call you because you are spicy.
Thank you, Bev.
I think something else comes into play where we feel like we can change them. Like
Mm.
I'm gonna make him a good guy. I'm gonna be the one who comes in and changes him, and then that's another challenge that I turned him into a good guy. I made him commit to me. See, it's all human nature. It's things that we do.
Tiffany, you're hitting it on the money because this next point was Wonder Woman, right? Us thinking
Mm,
that we can save a hoe. Us being us being Captain America over here, trying to swoop in and thinking that we can create this perfect person for us and accept them for all their flaws and all. Meanwhile, they're not able to step up to the table. And
yep.
so we develop this like, well, I see myself as a loyal person, or I see myself as someone who is always giving of myself, or I see myself as someone who I'm a transformer. Okay, that is what you're telling yourself in order to make this relationship continue on. And you feel like you have to prove something to yourself or prove something to him, prove something to the world. And if you don't prove it, therefore you're a failure and you can't see yourself as having failed. So you
Yep.
keep going on and on trying to change this person, pouring into them when they're not pouring into you. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
You hit
Girl,
that
yes.
on the money. Because the unfortunate part about this is that you can't change anyone who doesn't want to change themselves.
Exactly. That part. That
So
part.
we get caught in this roller coaster ride.
Hmm. And I like to win. I don't like losing.
That's how
Okay.
I feel too. Now I know where to, now I've learned over years, of course, and in my, coaching and studies and in my own personal experience, like where I'm going to bet my money on. But like when it comes to, my past, I used to be the person who was like flying in trying to save someone, especially when they had bad boy signs. And I'm like, oh, no, 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 no. I know what I'm capable of. I can fix anything. I'm successful at anything that I do. Therefore, I should be successful at changing this person. And that skill set doesn't always transfer over.
Because everybody has free will. Everybody has free
Thank
will.
you. Thank you so much. Okay. Next point is the passion, the fire and desire that you get from jerks, right? Like the way that you described it earlier was like this lack of consistency. You never know, where they really stand with you. Well, not knowing where someone stands and there being this mysterious element to it, not knowing if he's going to show up, not knowing if he's going to call, him being unreliable, and demonstrating toxic behavior, we get caught in this web of like, ooh, but I still want you because I can't have you. Have you ever
Mm.
felt the passion and fire desire from the jerks? Because they also know how to lay it down.
Absolutely. Are you kidding me? Yeah, I remember there would be times where I would get a text from the guy that I wasn't really all that into. You know, the nice guy, the good
Mm,
guy who would text you, "Hey,
yep.
beautiful," in the morning. And then you'd get the phone, you'd be like, "Oh,
You're
dang,
like,
it's not
oh,
the guy that I
not
really
the
wanted to
one.
text me." Yes, it's just this. The show came about because I was talking to my mom about it. God
Hmm.
rest her soul. My mom named my show, and so I was
Ooh,
lamenting
mama.
about one of these guys, this Spaniard that I was dating. I mean, the United Colors of Benetton. I've dated them all. Like if you looked at
Yes.
all the different guys that I've dated, you go, "Oh, she doesn't have a type." But anyway, so I was telling her about it, and she said, "Honey, you need to write a book, and you need to call it 'I Never Met a Jerk I Didn't Like.'"
Mm.
And that ended up becoming my play. But I feel like a lot of it stems from our own self esteem. And I
Yep.
talk about that in my play. Why am I into the guy that's not all the way into me?
Yep.
Why am I going after him when there are perfectly good men? They're good looking, they're all these things. It's as if them being good to me and kind to me and doing all the right things was a turnoff. Like,
Mm.
I need you to act more like a douchebag, and then then I'm gonna be into you. So
Right.
I had to go within and figure out what is it, what's going on with me that I'm into that. And so that's where the transformation
Mm.
happens in the play. And I think that we as women all have to look at that. If you are into the bad boy, you are going after, you're all about the guy that's just giving you little crumbs and all.
Mm.
You need to go within and go, okay, why? Why do I want this person?
Yes.
Yes,
Tiffany
the
is
sex is
preaching to
good.
you guys right now, and she knows this because she wrote an entire play on it where she
Yeah.
performed it herself. And you took us through different skits, right? How did you come up with the different characters that you demonstrated? It was based on your actual true life and who you were in those moments with those men.
Yes, the characters were some of the men in my life. There were a couple that I made up, and of course I exaggerated for comedy. But yeah, it was pretty much loosely based on my experiences. And I didn't just talk about the men that I've dated, but jerks in my life, like bullies from school. Me
Mm.
being, hey, I've been a jerk. I've been a jerk too. So it's one of those things where it was cathartic for me
Yeah.
to make fun of the situation. And some of them even came to the show. Oh, was I this one? I'm like, yeah, you might have been. Isn't it funny? Like, I still talk to, still cool
They
with a
could see
couple of them.
themselves in it.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know, maybe. Did that sound like you? I don't know. Well, he did have an accent. Well, then I think that was probably you.
Right. As a former jerk and as a reformed
Mm-hmm.
jerk myself, have you
Mm-hmm.
ever done the, oh, now I know what it feels like to be hurt. Let me call the people who I hurt and make amends and apologize because now I've experienced this from a guy, right? So like you call them up and you're like, I just want to tell you I'm so sorry that I hurt you that one time. Have you ever done that?
I've never reached out and apologized.
Ooh,
I apologized after it happened in that moment because
mm,
I kind of felt like a shitty person
okay.
doing that to somebody. But it was interesting because I was dating one guy and I used to date his friend. And this is when I was going through my hoe phase. And I remember one night he came over and he's like, I think it was one of those, okay, I started taking my clothes. Are we ready? And he's like, oh, well, I just thought we'd sit down and talk a little bit. I'm like, why? I felt like such a guy. And he says, well, I'd want a relationship with you if you were open to it. I'm like, yeah, I'm not open to it. You're gonna have sex? Okay, so then that happened. So when his friend, who was the player kind of jerky type that I was into, ended up playing me, he goes, I'm not kidding you. How does it feel? How does
Ooh,
it feel?
like take that.
Not kidding. Not even joking. And then I thought, were y'all in on this together? Did you plan this? Okay.
What? Oh my
I
gosh,
will
because
never forget that.
they got movies based off of that where like
Okay.
dates you to get you back for his friend. I've seen that
Yes.
scenario play out, which is super shady, but he probably let it happen because he knew like, oh, you passed up on me. Okay, fine, you're gonna
Mm-hmm.
have yours coming because he's definitely not going to treat you the
And,
way you deserve.
and that is who that person is. No,
Hmm.
no judgment. That's just who he is. He's just not the dude that is going to commit, isn't into relationship like that. He's the lifelong bachelor kind of person. And of course, I'm thinking, yeah, no, I'm so special and amazing that he is going to change his ways
He's
for
gonna
me.
realize,
Didn't happen.
yeah, nope. But you're touching on the next point though, right? When it comes to good versus like the bad boy. Um oftentimes in our adolescence or in our youth, we go after the bad boy and then the good guy is left on the market. But then what happens is the generation or the group that is ready for real committed relationships acknowledges and realizes that they want the good guy, the man who is the superior man, the man who has the higher level of consciousness, the successful, the
Yes.
attractive, treats you well, and he gets snatched up. While we're in our hoe phase or we're out here trying to figure things out, the good guy gets snatched up from the women who are actually really ready. And then when we finally decide that we are done with bad boys, we're ready for the good ones, sometimes the pickings are a little bit more slim. Okay. And the reason why I say this is not a limiting belief is because this is actual data. Even if we were talk about the different attachment styles, right? Secure attachments get picked off the market the quickest, which leaves us with the insecure or the anxious attachment styles, should I say, or the avoidant. And
Oh, I
so,
love that you're talking about this. I was just
oh,
talking about this with a friend the other day. I think I'm a fearful avoidant. I think I might be
you're a
a little bit
fearful
of that.
avoidant. Okay.
I think a little bit, yeah.
See, but
Anyway, go on. I
you
love that
tell
you're
me
talking
that
about
you
this.
want a relationship, but then you avoid the people who actually want relationships. So when you leave those men on the market, they're getting snatched up by the women who do, and then you circle back and you're like, okay, I'm ready. And a lot of these men have been like plucked.
But then a new batch of men will come in and they're getting out of
That
the
part.
relationships and
That
now I'm
part.
single again. I feel like there's always going to be someone for you if you look for them.
That part.
I have not been actively looking, which we talked about on my
Correct.
podcast. But yeah, I just deciphered. I didn't take the test, but I'm just guessing I might be a
I
fearful
need you to take
avoidant.
the test. More than likely
I
you are,
might
but
be.
I need you to take the test and read the book if you can. But
I will.
what you are saying right now, I love is actually an abundance mindset, right? So, like,
Yeah.
what you just hit on was the fact that, like, a new wave of men will come or a new set of men will be put on the market. What she's talking about is when we do release someone who maybe was a good guy, we let them go because maybe they didn't have us. I like what Tiffany is saying, and I really do want you guys to get in this mindset because it is the healthy mindset of that's okay. I may have missed out on that one, but my next one is coming. That next person is coming. However, I need you guys to put yourselves out there and date to meet them. You can't say my next one is coming. I gave up a good guy because I love the bad boy. Now I've learned my lesson. I'm ready to settle down, but I'm not going to do anything to meet the good guy. I need you guys to do things. Yes, Tiffany, you are guilty, guilty, guilty of like taking yourself off the market and saying, I'm just going to throw myself into my work versus actually engaging and interacting, putting yourself in social settings, or even like approaching men who you're interested in and really developing, you know, some bonding time with them, some quality time, giving them a chance.
Well,
Um,
in
a-
my defense, it hasn't been very social lately.
Very good, very
You know,
good.
but it's funny because it's things are opening up again, and I'm like, I'm so good at home. This is great. I don't have to do
No,
my
no,
hair,
no.
makeup. This is
Those are
fantastic.
excuses,
I
and
know.
we're not going to let anyone's social anxiety stop them from finding love. We need to break out of this like comfortable, complacent, you know, environment. We've been trapped there too long for this past year.
Yeah,
We're now using COVID and quarantining as an excuse to not have to interact. And there is some anxiety around like getting back out there. What if I fail? Like now I actually like can meet people again, right? You've been using your isolation as an excuse to not have to put yourself out there. Because if you put yourself out there, oh my God, what if I'm rejected? And if I'm rejected, that means I'm going to feel the hurt that I felt with my last, you know, relationship or the guy who, you know, ghosted me. No, 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 no. We're not going to have those conversations with ourselves. We're going
you
to
are
have the
preaching
positive
right now.
conversations.
Preaching. As you're saying this, I'm like, she might be talking about me a little bit. I'm supposed to pretend like we're just nod. Like that's she's talking about everybody else. Yeah.
We're going to have
and
the
I
positive conversations with ourselves.
yeah, and I'm a social person. I've always been a social person. Hasn't been, you know that.
Yeah,
But
you are a social butterfly,
for
just like
this
me.
pandemic, yes, but this pandemic has kind of made me a bit of a, I'm sure a lot of people a bit of a homebody. And
Yeah.
I got a little too comfortable being at home. But there's this quote, this joke about, well, if you want to find Mr. Right, you're not going to find him sitting at home. What is he going to do? Have to break into your house or something? But
Right.
you
I
imagine
saw that
somebody
meme.
breaking into you. It's freaking hilarious. And people sent it to me. I'm like, oh, shut up, shut up. But could you imagine the guy breaks into your house and you're like, oh, you're actually kind of cute. What's your name? No, take
Leave
whatever
me
you
your
want.
number.
Here's my heart. And I was just like,
If he looks like Prison Bay, okay.
oh,
Yes.
honey, rob me any day.
But I don't want you ladies to have to go through that extreme. And I don't want the good guys, right, to feel like they have to be bad boys to get us. What I would
Right.
like is for us to have some great awakenings and understanding through this episode that if we do make mistakes or we do make bad choices in our relationships, I want us to understand the why. And then I want us to learn from that and then talk about what we're going to do differently moving forward. So let me give you one last bonus spicy tip or on why we love jerks. The last one is that it's familial to us. And when I say that, we oftentimes overlook the fact that we grew up maybe with a father that was there and he may have been emotionally unavailable or have been a jerk, and we're comfortable and have learned how to function in a toxic or in a dysfunctional environment. We've learned how to function and thrive with these type of men. Or maybe you're like me and you grew up in a single parent household where you learned how to function without the presence of a man who's actually there and his energy is powerful and he gives you the love that you deserve. You learn how to function without that. And so because of that, you get in a relationship with men who affirm your belief that you don't need it. So they don't give it to you. You've grown comfortable with men who are emotionally unavailable to you, and you love these jerks, these men who don't worship you. You have to reprogram and train yourself to love to be worshiped again. You have to, and if you never had it, what that looks like, right? What being worshiped looks like. And I use worship as like an extreme, Tiff, because I went through my phase of like dating the jerks and comparing it to the good guys. And what I realized is I thrive better. I excel at my work when I'm with a good guy.
Yeah.
I'm healthier. I'm more uplifted. I'm more fulfilled. And while the jerks are fun, I knew I couldn't marry or settle down with one
Yeah.
because jerks aren't husband material. It's the good guys that are husband material. And you really have to make a choice. Do I want in this moment to spend the rest of my life experiencing crazy passion, or do I want to experience crazy security and I create the passion? Right? If you're spicy
Yes.
enough and you get my spicy tips, you can create passion. What you can't create is loyalty, honesty, and communication, and
Yes.
a good person. You can't change a person's character. You can only teach them things and hope that they will learn. But
Mm.
passion is one of those things that you can create because it's an illusion. Passion is an illusion of how you make someone feel. So we can
Yes.
ignite that. But have you ever experienced, or why have you experienced the jerk from a familiar standpoint? Does that ring true to you that
Oh,
daddy was there or
absolutely.
daddy wasn't? Which one was it?
Well, I kind of have a combination of both. My
Mm,
parents divorced when I was 3 years old. So I was raised in a single parent household,
mhm.
and I didn't really have a good example of what a healthy, happy, loving relationship looks like. Now, my mother, beautiful woman, she had, boyfriends here and there, and she was really careful about that, bringing them around, her kids.
Yeah.
But I just didn't really see what a happy, healthy relationship. What is a good example of that? And my dad, even though he didn't raise me, he was a wonderful dad, but
Oh, beautiful.
wonderful dad, and always spoke life into me. But I do remember at 3 years old, I don't know how I even remember this, distinctly seeing him leaving with his military outfit in his suitcase. And I was just bawling at the door. I
Mm,
remember this. And I feel that implanted something in me,
yep.
like they're
Abandonment.
gonna leave,
Yep.
abandonment.
Yep.
And even though I was so tiny, but that's the age, that's a crucial time in your life where the seeds are planted
Formative
and your
years.
beliefs, yep, start forming. And so there was something formed there. And so I put this protective shield over myself where it's almost as if I was seeking out the emotionally unavailable men,
Yep.
whether they were in another state or they didn't really want a commitment and all that. it was good for me and comfortable for me because deep down, I was emotionally
Mm.
unavailable. I wasn't ready for
Yep.
intimacy. There was a lot of fear there. So, absolutely, that does resonate with me. And I feel like I've grown. There's been a lot of inner work I've had to do. And I feel like now I'm ready, like truly ready. And then I guess effort might be much more. I might need to put some
Effort is
effort in.
important. Effort is
But
important.
yes, but yes,
So you
totally agree.
just hit it on a beautiful point that we have to bring up is that I don't think that people acknowledge enough that we date at our level of emotional availability. So if you're dating right now at like a level 5, you're more likely going to end up with a level 5, not just because you're magnetic and that's what you're going to attract, but also a level 5 can only and is willing to deal with a level 5, right? If I'm a 10 of my emotional availability, I'm not putting up with the 5 because we are not
Right.
equally yoked. So I'm going to pass you up, move on to and try to find my 10, or at least as close to my 10 of emotional availability as possible so that I can feel satisfied, versus the person who is a low level of emotional availability is more likely to be equally yoked with someone who has low level as well. They have less expectations. So oftentimes we wonder, like, oh, why do I keep attracting this person? No, boo. Why do you keep choosing that person? You need to do what Tiffany said that she did and really look at self and do some self reflection so that you can be with a higher level. Maybe you need to do the internal work, raise your level of emotional intelligence, emotional availability, and then you will be able to pick better with discernment who's equally yoked with you.
Mm,
Just my spicy tip right there.
yes, true.
I know this is heavy and I know it's a lot, but I'm always trying
Oh,
to
I
help you
love this.
guys. But talk to me about when your light bulb moment was then. When is the awakening, right? Women are always looking for like the aha. When do they get
Hmm.
over the jerk phase? How did you know, or how do you know right now that you're done with the assholes?
Well, it's definitely when you start building your self esteem and your sense of self becomes stronger and you
Yep.
know your worth and you know what you deserve, you start repelling them. You
Mm,
they don't come around as much anymore because I'm a different Tiffany. I know
yep.
exactly who I am. I know what I bring to the table and I know what I deserve.
Yep.
And I think a light bulb moment came at a time where I was with one jerk. I mean, he was aesthetically beautiful. And I think that's what drew me in. And
Those
the sex
beautiful
was
ones.
amazing. Like he rocked my world. I was so whooped, it wasn't even funny. But he was one of those guys that like to kind of nitpick at you and break you down so they can kind of keep you in
Mm,
a place where you're not going to go anywhere.
yeah.
So he slowly started to pick at my self-esteem.
Mm,
He'd be like, "You're so beautiful, but you'd be perfect if you did this or do
yeah.
that." Even though, looking back in retrospect, I'm like, oh, if I wasn't perfect, you sure couldn't get enough of me, like 24/7, like could not. Oh, like that. But I realized that is just a tactic. It's what they
Correct.
do to keep you so you don't run away. And
Right.
so that did such a damaging effect to my self-esteem at that time and how I felt when I got out of that. I eventually left the relationship like, no, 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 I can't do this anymore.
Wow.
And he was wondering, what you're leaving me? Who's leaving me? Like, yeah, I'm
The
leaving you.
audacity for you
Oh,
to
yeah,
get
yeah,
your
yeah.
shit together.
I'm out of here. That was my light bulb moment. I said, I'm never going to let anybody make me feel like that again,
Oh,
ever. And that's kind
beautiful.
of where the turn started happening, where I said, "Yeah, I think we're done with jerks. I think let's get out of the
Good
space."
girl. People come to me all the time, and even clients who are going through it, right? Where they're like, help me get out of it, help me release him, help me let him go. And, I have my rituals and I have my exercises, but I can often tell early on when someone's really not ready to release, because we will continue going back to that person, right? We have to have that moment where we say, just like you did, enough is enough. I'm so sick and tired of being sick and tired of being mistreated or not being appreciated or being put down, that I know this doesn't serve me anymore and I'm going to walk away. Not
Yep,
walking away with the intention of coming back, because a lot of us make idle threats, really just hoping that the person will chase us or change, but walking away with the intention of not turning back. And I think that's very hard for a lot of people because we have so
yep,
much hope and desire in our hearts. And we want to be, this forgiving person. We want to believe that they change. But 9 times out of 10, every time
same
we do
person,
that, same person,
same person.
same
And he
shit,
did
different day,
chase, exactly. And he did chase. He did chase
as
me.
he should.
But
But you
okay,
didn't take
but
him back.
his ego, I'm shocked with his narcissistic ego that he even brought himself to chase anybody. But he did. And I'm proud of myself because I never went back.
Good
I'm
girl.
done. I'm done. He'd say all the sweet things. I didn't mean that. And I never went back. Never went back. That was a big turning point. It did not happen overnight. I just want to tell the ladies out there that are dealing with jerks
Good.
and are
Yeah.
trying to get out of a toxic situation. It didn't just like, it wasn't like a magic wand. And I'm fine. I'm done with them. I'm not into them anymore at all. I'm a fully realized person. No, it took some time. I had to really work hard at it. But if you really want to, you can get out of the jerk phase.
Okay, so then that leads me to the next one then, because now you're going to give your testimony. If you've always been attracted to jerks, how do you then like the good guy, right? Because this has to be a conscious decision that you make. I'm not going to date jerks anymore. But how do you evoke the emotions that you're looking for? I want to hear in your experience, or even if you've had it yet, where good guys are starting to look a lot better to you.
It's really about opening your heart to the possibility of somebody that you may have never seen coming. And I'm still working on that.
Thank you for your honesty and transparency.
Yes. Like for me, I'm like, well, I have to be attracted. And I'm thinking, okay, Tiffany, are good guys not attractive? But what I've noticed with the men that wasn't all that interested in, what they lacked that the jerks had was the confidence,
Mm,
was that alpha confidence that most women are drawn to and
yeah.
attracted to. Sensitivity is good. It's good that you're tapped into that. That's wonderful. But in the courting phase, when they put it all out on the table, like on the second date, practically
Mhm.
professing their love to you,
Yeah.
it's a turnoff. It reeks of desperation. So for me, I have to find the key for me is to find someone who has that confidence and is the man that I want, the alpha man, but they're also a wonderful person. How do they treat their family? How do they treat their friends? How do they treat the waiter at the restaurant?
Good girl.
And eventually I know that that type of person, I won't say will grow on me. That's an instant attraction. And I have been instantly attracted to good men. So that's good. I realize I'm getting to a different place of my life. But my advice to the good guys is be confident, know your worth. Don't go around with the good guys always finish last theory because it's everywhere. It's permeating all your potential relationships, women that you want to talk to you. Know who you are, just like women need to know who they are to get the man that they want, to get the woman you want, and get out of this the good guy, nice guy category.
Yes.
Switch it up. Take
You
your
are
power, own
hitting
your
it
power.
on the money. I think that us as women have shown so much love to the bad boys that good guys are like, okay, I tap out, or they get a chip on their shoulder and they're like, all women suck. They're all after the same thing. You know, they don't appreciate a good guy. Therefore, I'm going to turn into a bad guy. But as
Mm-hmm.
women, we understand and acknowledge and can realize when someone's not being their authentic self. Like we know when a guy is faking it till he makes it, or if we're, you know, if we're tapped in and we're in touch with our intuition, then we're able to feel when he's not presenting from his truth. And so, whether he's a good guy trying to pretend to be a jerk, that doesn't work. My suggestion in support of what Tiffany just said is that you good guys out there keep running your race, keep staying in your lane of being a good dude. Us women will come to the realization of all of the things that make you wonderful, that you are husband material, that you honor and cherish and respect us. And we rise to the occasion and value those things versus you devaluing those things and now changing and transforming to try to be this person who you're not. Because at the end of the day, the jerks don't choose us. They don't settle down. We don't marry them. We wind up marrying the good guys. So you're always going to win the race and, you know, be in a starting position and, you know, finish first, not last, when you stay true to who you are. And that goes for, you know, us as women as well. You know, we're fighting against ourselves when we're trying to like rationalize why we should be with the bad boy, when honestly we just have a problem learning to love what's good for us, because
Mm.
we've been used to eating poorly for so bad that when vegetables are put in front of us, we don't realize like, oh, these are actually the healthier choice right here. We have to like acquire our taste for the veggies. We love the candy. The candy looks good. It tastes good. It's fun. It makes us feel good. But vegetables are actually what serves us from a growth standpoint. And I'm saying the good guys are the vegetables and the bad boys are the candy. Are you understanding? Are you tracking with me on my analogy, Tiff?
Totally, 100%. I love that you've been using food. You're making me hungry right now. Between the pizza, the vegetables, and the candy, I'm like, I'm hungry. When's lunch?
I know. I use food often. You will see, even in my e-course, I use food often. But that's because it resonates with people. Like we have to understand. And I know sometimes I speak very high level, so I try to make it as simplistic as possible. But I think what you are experiencing in your own personal testimony, people see you and they're like, "Oh my God, she's beautiful, she's successful, and she likes jerks too." Like, oh, okay, I can relate to that. I'm not alone out here with what I've been attracted to. But then they also get hope from seeing you, Tiff, that they can get out of this phase, that it does exist, and that you yourself will be a testimony as soon as you decide to go dating full throttle back on this market.
As soon as you put yourself back out there
And you
again.
put yourself out there.
I will.
Because I'm like, I know I reached out to you before to try to set you up, and you're like, I'm not really dating. I'm not really ready. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna send someone your way when you're ready.
It's like, when are you gonna be ready? Like, no,
Right.
I'm ready.
I'm like, come on now. I got someone for you. No, but as we
I'm
speak,
ready now.
Yeah, I'm like,
send them my way.
Do have someone I think in mind for you. So I will. Let me get your pizza. We got to do the pizza exercise first. And for those who don't understand, let me recap it really quick. Your pizza is your crust, your sauce, your toppings. Okay. The crust is the 5 things that you need in order for this person to be a good person. They're not in a relationship with you. You just classify him as a good person, Tiff. So what are the 5 things that you need in order for someone to be a good person? Say those 5 things for me.
Okay. Kindness.
Okay.
Integrity.
Okay.
Emotionally available.
Okay. Yep. That's 3. Affectionate's 4.
Generous.
Generous is 5.
And okay, there we go.
Did you have one more? I'll give you one more for a bonus if you had one more in mind.
Yeah, I think that's
perfect. Okay, so that you have another one?
6-pack abs.
Okay, we're not there yet.
Just kidding.
Look, this is what y'all ladies be doing. Okay, so Tiffany just gave us the 5 things that she needs for a good foundation in a relationship with someone who she does not have a relationship with. She's just saying, in order to say that this person is a good person, I can't even know them, okay, unless they have these 5 things. I will not think that this person is a good person. So that's the crust, okay? She's not in relationship with this person, just a good foundation. The second layer of a pizza is the sauce, okay? The sauce is how they treat you. So now you get to tell me, how does he make you feel? How does he treat you in order for you to now date him? Now I've introduced you to him. I'm like, Tiffany, I have this good guy. He met your 5 crust needs. Now's the sauce. What are the 5 things that you need in order to engage with him and entertain him and consider a relationship? Talk to me about how he treats you.
Okay, well, I hope all your single male listeners are paying attention.
I'm sure they are.
Sense of humor. They got to make me laugh.
Okay, make you laugh.
That's a big one.
Okay.
Laughter, respect, treat
respect.
Me with respect.
Okay.
Like like the queen that I am.
Yes.
With loving kindness and affection. Like they're affectionate with me and loving.
You already put that on your crust.
Okay. Protective.
Okay, protective. We have 3.
Supportive.
Okay, so supporting you
and things that I do.
Okay, beautiful.
And let's see.
You get one more sauce. One more treatment.
With love. I already said love. Loving.
Yep. You said affection in your crust. So like love is a different definition that everybody has, right? Everybody has their own definition of love. I'm talking about key identifiers of how this person treats you behaviorally.
They make me feel safe. Feel safe.
You said protective already.
Secure, like secure in the relationship, as in,
okay. So secure.
I'm not worried about them running.
Okay, protective is different than secure. 2 different things. So we're going to go with that. So Tiffany has her 5 things that she needs for her sauce, her 5 things that she needs for her crust. Now is the part that you've been wanting to get to, that every woman always starts off with, but it should be the last part, which is the toppings. This
I
is
don't know
the
what you're talking
physical,
about.
this is the physical attributes on what you need in order to be sexually attracted to him. So give me those 5 things.
I'm going to sound mad superficial right now, but that's
Go
okay.
ahead.
Well, I like them to be fit, have nice
Fit. That's
pecs.
one.
Pecs are very hot to me, like the big upper body. See, even she's getting excited. Um, nice full lips,
Full lips.
smile, great smile,
Smile.
um, and
You
a
get 2
nice
more.
a nice member, a nice part of the male anatomy. Can
A
I say
big dick. Okay.
anatomy? Nice, a good one, a good one.
Okay, she put a big
Um,
dick on there. Go ahead. What's the last thing?
not even this, not too big, not crazy, but
Okay.
like a nice size.
Well endowed,
And,
gifted.
woo, I'm blushing. I think I might be getting a hot right now. And let's see what else. What else? Um, you know, abs.
Okay, so that's 5 things. Okay, those 5 things you need in order to be sexually attracted to him.
Oh, and not protruded abs that are like, beer belly. I'm talking about like, these fit abs. I just need to clarify that in case anybody was like, oh,
In
I
case
got
there's any
abs, but
listeners.
girl.
He's like, I got abs underneath my fat.
Okay.
Like that quarantine 15, man. Mine's the quarantine 20, okay? But when it comes to the toppings, we always wind up as women choosing toppings first, especially with dating apps and physical aesthetics, seeing someone in person. We always, as women and men, go toppings, sauce, crust. The problem with that, though, is that we should be going crust, sauce, toppings, right? What is this person's character? Who are they? How do they treat us? And then how do they look? So I want you, now that you have your pizza, because every woman should have her pizza. Every woman should know, what are the 5 things that his character needs in order to be a good person? What are the 5 things that I need in order for treatment? And what are the 5 things that I need for physical attraction? I'm telling you right now, if you're dating without your pizza, it's making it a lot harder. Okay. But also, if you're dating going topping, sauce, crust, it's making it a lot harder. You should be getting to know who that person is, because the thing that you're leading with, the toppings, Tiff, those things you can fix. Okay. If you don't have abs, we can get them. If you don't have nice teeth, Invisalign. We can't necessarily make him full lips, but us women have the advantage of doing that, but men not so much. But when it comes to the physical things, we can sacrifice the physical. If you're telling me that a man came at you with the crust and the sauce and he was fit, but he didn't have full lips, you're gonna pass up on him?
Absolutely. No,
No,
I'm
you
just
are
kidding.
not.
I'm kidding.
Don't be lying. The toppings are negotiable. So it makes it a lot easier when you're navigating in the dating world of understanding like who he has to be, how he has to treat you, and then last, how he has to look. Okay. We can change his wardrobe up, ladies. We can change his cologne. We can change a majority of the things. Even height. We can't necessarily make him taller, but we can put him in some boots if that's one of your requirements. If he's not well endowed, okay, look, we could teach him how to move, the motion in the ocean. Like there's things that we can do when it comes to the toppings that we can negotiate. But when it comes to the sauce and crust, if you tell me you're dating someone who doesn't have your full sauce and crust, we have a freaking problem. And you cannot go on with that person because 1, you won't respect them. 2, you won't get your needs met. And 3, all you will have is the toppings, but you're never full off of the toppings. So I know I get on my tangents. I'm trying to help these folks out here, but this is going to help you as well, because if I send someone your way, I need to know whether he's your pizza or not, right? Now that you can identify that, now when you're going out there in the dating market, you'll be able to clearly identify whether he has these things. And the things that you listed, boo, those things did not sound like a jerk to me.
Exactly.
True. Those sounded like a great guy.
Yes.
And everybody has their different things. Well, now you know what we're looking for.
That makes my unicorn.
Clear. It makes it clear to identify who is that and who's not. When we're just like aimlessly wandering about in this world dating, it makes it a lot harder when you don't know your specifics of what you need to identify that, right? You're gonna either be passing up on the good ones or gravitating to the ones that don't serve you. So we're clear on it now. Now we're going to get you dating. And that will definitely help a lot. But I want you to let everybody know, like when it comes to the comedian world, the acting world, what can we look out for you? What should we be expecting next? I want you to bring your show back, because that was absolutely entertaining. Let us all know what we can expect from you.
Well, first of all, thank you again for having me on. This has been awesome. And I'm always learning from you, Spicy. And I hope everybody else out there is learning from her because she knows what she's talking about. Right now, my podcast, Self-Deprecated, is available on all podcast platforms, and Spicy is going to be on the next episode. So stay tuned. And the show, I think I will bring it back. I am working on bringing the show back at some point. The thing is, I feel like I've transformed so much since I did that show that I'm going to have to revamp it a little bit. But it resonated with so many people that I'm like, I got to bring this back. I got to bring it back.
It spoke to me. I feel like I've been with all those jerks before.
Literally what I heard from every woman who saw that show. Yep. Or I've heard from guys. I've been that jerk. You know what I mean? So I definitely want to bring that back. And I'm writing a book right now about owning who you are. Yes. And so, yeah, I mean, just staying as busy as I can in this pandemic. I've been birthing a whole bunch of new ideas, and they've thankfully come to fruition. And so the main thing is go check out my podcast, rate, review, and listen to Spicy's.
Yes, the episode I know is a blast.
It is so good. She coaches the hell out of me, y'all.
I'm like, I can't remember. Did we do the pizza on your episode? I can't even remember.
Yes, we did.
We did.
Yes, we
See,
did.
I'm obsessed with my pizza. I do it like all the time till it's drilled in.
But I was better at it this time. The first time, you guys, the first two, I didn't know what I wanted from my sauce and my crust. I was like, kindness, compassion. Yeah, compassion. And then when it got to the physical, I'm like, oh yeah, done. Okay, this. It took 2 seconds. But this time I was ready. I was a little better, right?
Good girl. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Proud of you. You did amazing. Okay. So you let everybody know where they can find you on social as well. Where can they reach out to you at?
So I am Tiffany P on Instagram and Twitter. And you can find my podcast at Self-Deprecated Podcast on IG. And my website is itstiffanyphillips.com.
Beautiful. And you guys can always play with my Twitter or stroke my Instagram at SpicyMadi. You guys can go to TheSpicyLife.com. Make sure that you click and subscribe. Also share this episode with a friend. And if you have a chance, check out the Spicy Life e-course. It's definitely a 6-week curriculum that's going to get you prepared for your purpose mate, where I coach you on weekly sessions, giving you guys all of the relationship advice. It's going to help you accelerate your growth and be more magnetic in this dating world. And there you guys have it. You have just been spiced.
The Spicy Life.